Adding to the Eyewitness News roster in the span of just a week in 1977, Phil Johnson made 3 pretty good hires. One of them, an energetic young newsman named Dennis Woltering.
Dennis has it all. Dennis is the fighter for the story. The minute he hears something, you can just see, put almost the game face.
This area of Hammond is
a go-getter from the Gulf Coast, Sally Ann Roberts, landed here in New Orleans with a high recommendation from a future co-worker.
Oh my gosh, she's wonderful. She was doing the weekend anchoring in this little tiny town in Mississippi. And I went back to Phil Johnson, and I knew that he was looking for more females. I said, Phil, you have got to check this woman out today.
And joining Sally Ann in the newsroom that same week, and later on the anchor desk for the morning news, would be a young anchor reporter from St. Louis.
I remember Eric being funny back then, and he's funny today. I mean, people say, what's Eric Paulsen really like? I say that what you see on television, that's who he is.
And all morning long, we have been celebrating the 65 years of Channel 4 being on the air. And this morning we're being joined by, as we just talked about, a couple of special guests, Dennis Woltering and Sally Ann Roberts. We all came on the same week back in 1977.
It was
amazing,
we
yeah.
were all kids starting out here.
And I know why they hired, you guys, because you had talent. They hired me because they got me cheap. So.
No, you have talent
Mr.
as well.
Humble,
Of course
Mr.
you have
Well,
talent.
and it's funny because back then it was such a different era, such a different world.
Yeah.
We had typewriters in the newsroom.
And we were shooting film, not video.
At first it was film. That's right. That's right.
And you came here as the weekend anchor. You came in on as reporter. I came on as weekend reporter. I worked with Dennis on the weekends.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, and I just think that WWL for years, for 65 years, has reflected this community beautifully. We all came from different places, but we made New Orleans our home because this is a very beautiful community, and I think that
it seemed like New Orleans embraced us. I mean, it really felt like such, and the station was part of that. I mean, it was there was such a generous, appreciative spirit for what we were doing, from management and in the community, it seemed like.
And the thing is, I mean, when I walked in here, I mean, the reputation of WWL-TV was so far up there, and then I remember when I first came in and meeting Phil Johnson, who hired all 3 of us, and
Phil
I was
Johnson.
calling him Mr. Johnson, and he goes, "You can call me Phil."
I think I continue to call him Mr. Johnson.
Did you?
Yes, I just.
But it was Mr. Early.
And
Always Mr. Early.
Well,
Mr. Early.
and Mike Early, who really is the architect of what
Yes.
Channel 4 became and has become, I remember asking him one day, I was signing a new contract, and I said, after all these years, can I call you Mike? And he goes, well, of course you can, Eric. And I was walking down the hall one day, and I said, hi, Mr. Early.
Oh, wow.
And he was a legend in broadcasting, not just here, but all across the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all the leadership here from our past news directors, Phil Johnson, to our president.
Jim Boyer, yeah.
Oh, Jim Boyer and so many others and
Joe
of course
Duke,
Keith
Sandy
Esbross.
Breland, and Keith Esbross here
Yes.
now. I mean, it's just like, it's been a long line. And Keith, ironically, because I took over the weekends after you left for Philadelphia, and Keith Esbross was my 10 o'clock producer. Another former news director, Chris Slaughter, was my 6 o'clock producer then. And then they both became my bosses.
Yeah, and also the general managers, when you think about from Mike Early to Todd Smith and all those who came in between. I mean, this has been a real family. I've always felt like this was a family.
It did seem like a family. And you mentioned I went to Philadelphia. When I went to Philadelphia, it was such a completely different situation. It didn't seem like a family. It seemed like there was a sort of a negative spirit in the station. It's always been positive here. It's always been upbeat. And I mean, we were like a family. We were all friends. I mean,
yes.
it was hard to leave. It was great to come back when I had a chance to come back.
You went to a network-owned station, but it ran less like a network than Channel 4 did.
Oh my God, absolutely. I mean, it was so much of what we did here seemed to me to be much more professional than what we were doing in Philadelphia. And in those days, if something happened, we covered that story in a big way.
Yeah.
One thing I remember in 1982, 2 Saints players were caught with cocaine, arrested.
Yeah.
We did a month-long series on cocaine. They sent me and Brian Lucas to Colombia, Cali, Colombia, to show where the coca plants are coming from, and where all of this cocaine is coming from. I mean, it was an incredible commitment. They sent the two of us with a translator, then we hired a guide down there who had a small plane, flew us into a valley where we saw peasants, harvesting the coca plants. It was amazing.
And how much did you buy? And Sally, we watched you rise from a City Hall reporter all through the ranks. You were the 10 o'clock anchor for a while, and then you came and joined me on the morning news back in I think 1991.
Yeah, about that time. And I will have to say that working in the morning, because I worked all different shifts, but
guess
the
what?
morning
We're up
shift.
against. Go ahead. Say the morning shift was the best shift, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm going to say.
We're up against a hard time break. A lot of things have changed since you guys were here.